back to another video. This is Zach the Ripper Comics. And on today's show, we're going to do the very first episode, what will be an ongoing series where I take a look at the key comic books releasing this week at your local comic book stores, your digital comic book fronts, and just maybe the ebay.com/user/Zach the Ripper Comics store. Let's get into it. Now let me start off by defining what is a key comic book. Well, a key comic book is a book that has perhaps the first cameo, the first appearance of an integral character within the history of that series. A key comic can also be a certain time or place in comic book history within a series of which something huge took place. Key comic books are usually more rare, more hard to find, and much more valuable. Key comic books can also be signature books, variant covers, or perhaps when a certain writer or artist started or ended a book, or perhaps unfortunately met their demise while doing the book. A key comic is something that means something to you and anyone else perhaps throughout the entire comic book industry, which creates value, whether that be monetary value, rarity value, or personal collective value. Each week as comic books release on Tuesday and Wednesday, depending on which publisher we're speaking of, there's some speculation books that become key books down the road. And there's reason for this. Perhaps down the road, those comics blossom into something that becomes a hot book. And in these videos, what I will be doing is telling you exactly what books I believe to be key issues releasing this week that may already be pre-selling at a certain value, or maybe something that I see as valuable down the road. And please remember that the opinions expressed in this video are that of my own Zach the Ripper Comics. From Scout Comics, one of my personal favorite independent comic book publishers, as just recently they put out a tremendous book called Assassin and Son by recently deceased professional wrestler Shad Gaspard, whom I have had contact with in the past, was a tremendous human being, could have been a huge star. Unfortunately, he sacrificed his own life to save his son. Now, this week from Scout Comics, what's releasing is Concrete Jungle #1. Written by Sheldon Allen and art by Carl Moster. A synopsis as follows. When a rogue telepath begins hijacking unsuspecting minds and bodies to commit vicious crimes, crooked detective Annie Brunson is charged with cracking the case with her new straight-laced telepathic partner, Faith Jones. Set among a backdrop of urban decay, exotic aliens, robots, and genetic mutations. In this city, there are no good guys. There are no bad guys. There are only survivors. Sounds like Shades of Grey to me, which I'm always a fan of. This book has a $3.99 price point. However, if you're looking to purchase it online, they're limiting one per customer. Another great independent company is Vault Comics, and releasing this week is Devil's Red Bride #1. All of the covers for this are absolutely tremendous, but we're going to take a look at Cover B, written by Sebastian Gerner and art by John Bivens. The synopsis as follows. 16th century Japan. The fates of warlords ebb and flow like tides of blood, none more than the Origami clan, who follow their lord clad in the red devil mask into every battle. But when Lord Aragami succumbs to illness, his daughter, the fierce Kitsuko, hatches a plot to save her people, no matter the cost. Years later, as Kitsuko wanders the heavying battlefields of her ruined homeland, she discovers a chance to avenge the terribly wrong done to her clan, even if it means stepping back onto a road steeped in slaughter. This has a price point of $3.99. Releasing from Oni Press is The Vein #1. Releasing in two different covers, we're looking at cover A, the Emily Pearson cover. This cover is extremely colorful, and this is why I'm picking it as the key for this week. More colorful books with a lot of purples and oranges and greens have been doing really well with the independent comic book consumer over the last few years, beginning around the Paper Girls books. Written by Elliot Rahal, art by Emily Pearson, with a synopsis as follows. Chicago 1941, a blood bank is held up in a robbery, but no cash is taken, only blood. It's the latest in a string of similar crimes, and FBI agent Felix Franklin is certain it's part of a wider plot. But the truth is much more sinister than he can imagine. The four robbers who call themselves the Vein are vampires, immortal, physically powerful, and after decades of honing their skills, practically untraceable. But in a world that is rapidly changing, stealing blood is harder every day, and each decade that passes, Agent Franklin inches closer to the truth. It has a cover price of $3.99. Aftershock Comics up next, and this company blew onto the market a few years ago with price points for all of their books at 99 cents. Those days are no more, as I will explain in just a little bit of what this cover price is. This is We Live #1, written by Roy and Aniki Miranda, with art by the same Aniki Miranda. A synopsis as follows. The year is 2084 and the world has changed. Racked by calamities and crawling with monsters, the last remaining humans face a dangerous existence. And now the Earth has been sent a message from the deepest reaches of space, a dark countdown to the extinction of all humanity. But there is hope. 5,000 children will be rescued by these mysterious message senders. This is the journey of Hototo, one of the lucky 5,000, but only if this teenage sister, Tala, can drive safely to the nearest beacon before time runs out. As I said, that 99-cent price point is no more. This has a cover price of $4.99. From Dynamite Entertainment, we have Dynamite #1. And we're looking at cover A, the Lucio Perillo cover, because I believe this book has a very reminiscent shot of Gal Gadot in the Wonder Woman attire, with obviously a few things adjusted so as to not specifically be Wonder Woman, but I kind of have that suspectful feeling that this may end up getting pulled in the coming weeks. It has a synopsis as follows. In the shadowed alleys of 1930 Chicago, Green Hornet and Kato hunt the nefarious criminal element plaguing their city. They soon discover a mysterious danger that threatens Earth itself. Meanwhile, Vampirella hurtles through space on a Draculan ship desperate to uncover a dark mystery. Dynamite is an event series that unifies all of the Dynamite characters if you've never seen them before. They will come together to battle the biggest threat they have ever faced. Many are even missing faces. Now, it personally doesn't sound to me like a book that I would be interested in. However, there is an awesome cover, actually a few that are Batman homages, and I'll show one of them right here. DC Comics with Dark Knight's Death Metal #4, specifically cover A. Now, cover A's are always easier to get as they are the main covers that are shipped. There's upwards of 6 different covers for this book, some of which were already selling for $88. However, to get into this, I would go cover A for the cover price point at your local comic store, digital storefront, or elsewhere. In this issue, written by Scott Snyder, art by the legendary Greg Capullo, has a synopsis of follows. Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman are trapped in nightmare worlds within the dark multiverse. They'll need to face down their fiercest foes once again if they hope to accomplish their mission and bring back a power capable of stopping the darkest night. But what horrors has he unleashed on Earth while they've been locked away? This series has been red hot, a continuation of the original Death Metal series put out just a few years ago, has a really awesome cover featuring the Darkest Night licking the Watchman pin. Next up is DC's one-shot of The Doomed and the Damned. It's an 80-page giant and is very much seasonal as it's Halloween themed with scary beings and spooky ghouls, featuring 10 twisted tales, with a synopsis as follows. It was a dark and stormy night when the creatures of the DC Universe began to emerge from their lairs into the cool evening air. Tales of the macabre, the murderous, and the morbid abound this spine-chilling special about monsters and mayhem. What happens when Batman encounters a true urban legend after speaking its name 3 times in a mirror? Or when Madame Xanadu enlists the help of the Man-Bat to take down a shadowy specter? And who can stop an intergalactic demon from turning people into frog beasts? Only the unlikely team-up of Green Lantern and Etrigan. All this and 7 more fantastic fails to trick your treats and bob your apples. This has a cover price of $9.99. Speaking of Watchmen, next up on our list is Rorschach #1. This falls under the Black Label in DC, which is a more adult-oriented, mature reader's book. I'm hearing that there's upwards of 8 different variant covers for this book, but we're just going to take a look at cover A, Jorge Fornes cover. This is written by Tom King, who had the amazing run on Batman, now moving over into other projects. This one I'm particularly excited about. The synopsis is as follows. It's been 35 years since Ozymandias dropped a giant interdimensional squid on New York City, killing thousands and destroying the public's trust in heroes once and for all. And since that time, one figure in a fedora, mask, and trench coat has become a divisive culture icon. So what does it mean when Rorschach reappears as an assassin trying to kill a candidate running against President Robert Redford? Who is the man behind the mask and why is he acting this way? It's up to one detective to uncover the true identity of this would-be killer, and it will take him to a web of conspiracies involving alien invasions, disgraced do-gooders, mystic visions, and yes, comic books. It's a cover price of $4.99. From Image Comics, Commanders in Crisis, #1. We're looking at cover A written by Steve Orlando and Davide Tinto with a synopsis as follows. The last survivors of the multiverse live among us under new superheroic identities. 5 survivors of doomed worlds taking a second chance to ensure our world lives on. A new twist on strange superhero comics with a bleeding edge eye on the modern comment, Commanders in Crisis follows in the footsteps of Doom Patrol and Thunderbolts as 5 unexpected heroes come together to solve a murder unlike any other. The victim, compassion itself. This is the idea side. And of course, we're talking about cover A specifically that costs $3.99. As many people know, the Walking Dead comic book series ended just a few months ago in a complete halt, much like the show is doing relatively soon. However, Image Comics and Robert Kirkman are re-releasing the entire series from #1 as deluxe books completely in color. This week, we have Walking Dead Deluxe Edition #1, the gold foil cover specifically. The image I'm showing is what the cover will look like, however, with the addition of a gold foil, with a synopsis as follows. Read it again. It's time to revisit the historic independent series that took the entertainment world by storm 17 years ago. Follow Rick Grimes' journey again from the very beginning, but this time in stunning full color by the masterful Dave McKay. This deluxe edition will feature a memorable array of variant colors commemorating major character introductions and the series' most memorable twists and turns. Each issue will include a new installment of The Cutting Room Floor featuring Robert Kirkman's original handwritten plots along with commentary on abandoned storylines and things that may have changed along the way. This deluxe definitive presentation of the story in full color will not be collected anytime soon, so the single issues will be the only way to experience this. Now that doesn't sound much like a synopsis, but rather a sales tactic. Hey, it's people killing zombies, so that's cool, right? This Cover G incentive book has a cover price of $3.99, but you will not, however, find that anywhere for less right now than $110.99. But it does not hurt to visit your local comic shops on Wednesday morning to see if perhaps they're offering it at a much lower, more reasonable cost. It's time for the weekly Blow Your Load, as Marvel provides us 15 of the 25 keys releasing this week. Starting off with a spooky Amazing Spider-Man issue 50, written by the absolutely terrible Nick Spencer and art by Patrick Gleason. Lately, Marvel's been releasing 872,000 variant covers to all their books. This one is no different, as there's upwards of 10. This is the key because it's the first issue in the new storyline, The Last Remains, and it's also a number 50. What I mean by that is that in the comic books world, your 1s, 50s, 100s, and so forth tend to be more anniversarial issues and tend to bring in more financial collective gain. This book has a synopsis as follows. Amazing Spider-Man reaches another landmark and we're celebrating Spider Style. Spider-Man just took the beating of his life and we're just getting started. Kindred is stepping out on stage for the first time and Spider-Man is not ready for the havoc that Kindred is going to let loose. If he only knew. This, like most Marvel books nowadays, is overpriced with a cover price of $5.99. The Avengers number 37 has a barrage of covers also, but none is better, none is more pretty than the amazing Cover B, timeless Alex Ross cover. Not only does it have a shadowy, badass Black Panther on it, but this book will most likely also contain a top banner remembering Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther in the recent MCU movies. This book is written by Jason Aaron with art by Javi Garam, with a synopsis as follows. The age of Khonshu comes to its thunderous conclusion. The ragtag Avengers take the fight to the power-mad Khonshu deep in the heart of the new Thebe city, but which side will Moon Knight choose, and is Earth doomed either way? This book has a much more forgiving price of $3.99. Cable number 5, who looks like an absolute complete goofball on the cover A, is the book we're taking a look at right now. It's the Phil Notto cover, not okay with me. However, I feel like that this book could earn value in the long run because of how bad it does present the character of Cable. Written by Jerry Dugan, this is the X of Swords storyline, Part 8, with a synopsis as follows. A hand held aloft, a mystery in the stars, an ace up the sleeve. This book has a cover price of $3.99. Captain Marvel number 22, issue A, the Jorge Molina cover. Can't exactly put my finger on it, but this just screams 80s to me, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. If maybe you perhaps figured out, leave a comment below. Written by Kelly Thompson, art by Lee Garvin, with a synopsis as follows. It's a brave new world and the start of a brand new arc. New York City is under attack, but this time Captain Marvel can't save them. Stolen away to a far future, Carol Danvers faces a threat unlike any she's known. Brand new villains and heroes, a cast both familiar and strange, and the big action you've come to expect from the architects of the hit Last Avenger. And the reason that I have this on my list of keys is because this issue is the first appearance of Sora, daughter of Forge and Quanon, formerly Psylocke. An awesome cover has a price of $3.99. Hellions number 5, cover A, is the X of Swords Part 6 storyline with a gorgeous Psylocke cover written by Zeb Wells with art by Steven Segovia. The reason this is on the key list as it's part of a big Marvel story arc that tend to go up in value as the years go on. Now the next book is actually going to be 2 books. It's going to take up 2 spots, and that's Marvel's The Immortal Hulk number 38, an awesome title that has made a ton of money for Marvel, with rumors that they're going to be ending the series at issue 50. There's the gorgeous Alex Ross cover A, as well as the C cover, which is the Marvel spoiler, the one that they do not release to anyone whatsoever and is not seen until the comic book shops open their doors. The spoiler covers are always on here because you never know what's going to be on there, obviously. And sometimes you can hit a home run on what that spoiler cover is and it's a fantastic artist, or perhaps someone that's coming in with a beautiful bang. Either way, you can't go wrong with any of the Immortal Hulk covers, as they're always good. Now this one, issue 38, has a synopsis as follows. He's been chained, he's been suppressed, he doesn't even know if it's real. But something is reaching through the green door, it wants to hurt Bruce Banner, and when you hurt Bruce Banner, the Devil Hulk takes it personally. This has a cover price of $3.99. New Mutants number 13 is the X of Swords Part 7 storyline cover. Cover A is what we're going to look at. The Mike Del Mundo, incredibly awesome 80s throwback cover. I absolutely love it. And as I said earlier with The Vein and some other books, it's very colorful, which can tend to get higher sales. Written by Ed Brisson with art by Rod Rise, it has a synopsis as follows. Diligence, discipline, a sword of the self. This book has a cover price of $3.99. Still many more books to come, but real quick, let's pause to pound some Polar. That's good stuff. It's a book that I have literally no interest in, as is written by a writer and artist that I absolutely cannot stand. However, he does have a huge following, and that's Scotty Young. The book being Strange Academy, issue number 2, the 4th printing. Cover F, variant. The art's by Humberto Ramos, and there's a lot of talk of this specific book, Strange Academy, getting a potential Marvel Disney Plus show in the future. Think of this as Harry Potter set in the Marvel mutant world. And it has a synopsis as follows. Go to class with the students at Strange Academy. Your class schedule: 8:15 to 9:15, History of Magical Objects with the Ancient One. 9:25 to 10:25, Elements of Chaos Magic with Scarlet Witch. 10:35 to 11:35, Gym with Coach Taylor. 11:40 to 12:10, Lunch, cooked by Mindful One. 12:20 to 1:20, Introduction to the Undead with Brother Voodoo. 1:30 to 2:30, Inferno 101 with Magic. 2:40 to 3:20, Pending Survival, Study Hall. 3:30 to 4:30, Magical Plants and the Care Thereof with Professor Man-Thing. And this title has a cover price of $3.99. Donny Cates is perhaps the absolute hottest writer in the comic book industry today. His run with Venom and now Thor has been legendary, and the upcoming King in Black this winter is set to break new records. Thor number 1 is releasing a 4th printing, cover Y, this week. The art is by Nick Klein. I highly recommend the Thor book, and it has a synopsis as follows. The prince is now a king. All Asgard lies before Thor, the god of thunder. And after many months of war, the 10 realms are finally at peace. But the skies above the realm eternal are never clear for long.
The Black Winter is coming, and the God of the Storm will be powerless before it.
Thor #1 has a cover price of $4.99, but keep in mind if you plan on getting this, try to get it on release day, which is tomorrow, as the Thor books have been selling out and selling online at much higher retail values. And speaking of Thor, we're moving right along into the 5th printing of issue #3 of Thor, Cover G, which has an awesome cover featuring Mjolnir covered in blood. It has a synopsis as follows.
It's Mjolnir versus Stormbreaker as Thor's old ally, Beta Ray Bill, makes a thunderous entrance. But what has put the two friends at odds, and can the King of Asgard convince the Corbinite to let him continue his bloody mission to save all that is?
This has a cover price of $3.99, but just like issue 1, I would be there as soon as your local comic shop opens, or getting it as soon as you're able to online before the prices skyrocket. And the final Thor releasing this week is Thor #6, the 4th print, cover F, and a synopsis as follows.
The Black Winter is coming, the end of the entire vast universe, and only one entity can stop it. The only one who has survived it before, Galactus, the World Eater, has come to Midgard in search of a herald for the end of everything.
This is an awesome read and has a cover price of $3.99. If you're at all thinking investment with any of these books that I'm talking about, anything involving Donny Cates, be it Marvel or not, is something to invest in, as he is the hottest writer on the market today, and there's many speculating that the future of television and movies will be dependent upon his writing graphic novels. In a book that surprises me as it's being released by Marvel, it feels more like a Dark Horse entity, is Warhammer 40,000. We're taking a look specifically at issue #1, cover B, releasing tomorrow. Written by Kieran Gillen with art by Jackin Burrows, and a synopsis as follows.
Marneus Calgar, the legendary chapter master of the Ultramarines, leads his elite space marines against humanity's greatest threats in a galaxy engulfed in endless war. Now witness Marneus Calgar's never-before-told origin story from his beginnings on Nova Thulium, to his campaigns in the Black Crusades, and to the unfolding mystery of the Black Altar, as a deadly threat from his past emerges to threaten the present of the Ultramar system. This all-new tale is essential reading for 40k aficionados, as well as the perfect primer to the world of Warhammer 40,000 for those new to the universe. See the Ultramarines in glorious combat, the strife between the worlds of the Imperium, and witness the larger-than-life characters who preside over it all. This is but the first foray into the larger darkness that has come from Warhammer and Marvel Comics. Be prepared, parental advisory.
As this is a #1 and a new entity to Marvel Comics, it has a cover price of $4.99, hoping and anticipating this to go down to $3.99 with issue 2 and thereafter. If you're getting value out of this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, as up next is my personal pick of the week. Again, from Donny Cates, we have a huge addition to the Venom universe with the Web of Venom Wraith #1. It's already on its 2nd printing, and we're looking at the E cover. Wraith is a character that I would absolutely expect to be in Donny Cates' King in Black coming this winter, and this book has a synopsis as follows.
Since his appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy, one thing Wraith has made perfectly clear is that he's hunting Null, the god of the symbiotes. Now in the wastelands on the outskirts of the cosmos, he'll have his chance to face him.
This book has a cover price of $4.99, and just like the last title, most likely will go down by $1 with issue 2 thereafter. Now our last book of the week, the last potential keys of the week, is probably one that's going to fly under everybody's radar. This is the X of Swords handbook, and most people don't pick up these handbooks as they're pretty much just a book form of a checklist telling you which books and tie-ins to buy for a storyline. However, this storyline has been gaining a lot of interest, and as we've seen over the last 10 years, the handbooks, the checklists per se, tend to go up in value down the road as people, completionists, tend to look at them as part of the storyline. And this handbook will be no different, as it has a very interesting synopsis, which follows.
The dramatic new era for mutant kind takes center stage in this official handbook. This all-new collection of X-Men related profiles will bring you up to date on Apocalypse, Wolverine, Magik, and Megan just in time for X of Swords. This issue includes profiles for Cypher, Moira McTaggart, 2 Captains Britain, Brian and Betsy Braddock, and Krakoa itself, plus the young Cable and the X-Men.
Now, due to this being a one-shot and most likely oversized, it does have a cover price of $4.99. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I want to thank all of my patrons on Patreon for supporting me, supporting this channel, as your help goes a long, long way. Thank you for everybody liking the Facebook page, finding us on Instagram, hitting up that eBay store for your comic book needs, and last but not least, liking this video, subscribing to the channel, as we are now over 700 subscribers. I'm incredibly humbled and it means the world to me. We are on the road to 1,000 subs. Once we're able to do that, we can go live and have a variety of new, fresh content. Until next time.